Hi all, welcome to Supercoders. So in this tutorial, we are going to work with our dynamic form edit data. We can fetch the latest data on click on edit. Then after that, we can save this data on our database. So basically, we can make this dynamic form for edit data, fetching the latest data and save the latest data in our database. Apart from that, also work with the file things, which we can see the old files and new files also. So let's get started and let's work on this tutorial. And also, if you are new to channel, please subscribe our channel and please like the video. And if any question, please do comment. So basically, let's create a edit API. So when you open a page, you will see a edit API. Let me show you. Suppose that I am coming to my Postman, and if I open a dynamic form API, let's first log in. So first going to login and try to open a edit API or dynamic form API. So if you hit this API like slash get form slash warehouse, we can get our data. But if you see, the default is null, just because we are going to use it as a add data. If I pass also ID, I can get my value in the default field. So let me show you how I'm going to do all these things. First, come to VS Code, open your backend API, Ecommerce inventory, then open our routes, URLs, and here if you see, I created an API with get form and model name. Now I want to pass a optional parameter like ID. So basically ID is optional. Like if I pass ID, I can get to make it as a edit. If I didn't pass ID, I make it use as a without edit. So what I gonna do? Just create a same route again, and this time adding str ID slash. So the first URL and second URL both gonna link with same view. So just come to that view. First save this file, come to view file. I'm gonna add a logic ID equal to none. So by default make it none. If there is ID passing, we can use it. If there is no ID passing, we can suppose as a add data. So let's do it here and also doing it here in get ID equal to none. After that, if you see, I'm getting the model class here in the model instance. So what I'm gonna do, if I'm getting ID, if ID, then what I'm gonna do, model instance equal to model class dot objects dot filter dot id, and also let's add domain user id. So domain user underscore id equal to request dot user dot domain underscore user underscore id. Now that's okay. So I'm getting the model instance. If I am passing id, I can get that model with the data. Else, if there is no id, I can simply return this one, a new instance of model. Also here checking one more thing, I'm writing some logic. First filter if model instance dot exist, then in that case I am going to return model instance equal to model instance dot first. Else what I'm going to do, I can simply return render response model item not found, model item not found. Suppose that our ID is getting passed, but the ID which you are passing by anyone or any user that doesn't match in our database. So in that case, I return model item not found. Now save this file. So we are going to check whether it is working or not. So just come to Postman, send warehouse. So this is first case for add data. Let's try to pass our ID like 1. If I hit it, let's see. Okay, it is showing index.html is not defined. Let's fix this also. So when working with Docker file, I created a template folder, but there is no index.html file. That's why it is causing some issue. So index.html. After that, there is no issue will come for index.html file. Click on send. Let's try to restart the server of Django. Terminate it. Restart server, close it, back to Postman, click on send. Now it is working, but I think there is slash missing. Enter, and if you see model item not found, so I'm going to try with my category item. So try category one, and here we go. You can see the name field with the default value this one, the default value 0, default blank. Let's try with some other ID like 80, 81, 82, 53, 10. Okay, here it's 10. And in this, you can see default value is showing food 2 and default it's showing 2 for display order. And if I see other things like description, you can see the description test category. So the same API, when you passing the ID, we can get as a form plus we can get the value also, the default value which we are saying. After that, if you see one more thing here in this parent ID, which is a relation data, there is no default value showing. So let's fix this also. So come to VS Code and come to our main file, which is helpers. Come this file, and here if I see this one is for select field, and I think I didn't set the default value for this select. So what I can do? Field data default equal to model to dictionary. Let's import this model to dictionary. So from Django dot models, Django dot form dot models, import model to dictionary. After that, here what I can do? Model to dictionary, pass the model instance, then passing the field name, field dot name. And what I gonna do? If field dot name in model to dictionary, then return the field this condition. So the condition is simple. If this condition satisfied, this condition satisfied. So what I gonna do? I just return the model dictionary with the field name as we return the blank data. Now save it and let's check it's gonna work or not. So come to Postman, click on send, and if I see parent ID, this time it is showing null. That is perfect, I think. Let me see the user ID which I am sending. So if I see my user ID, let me check my user ID. So supercoders1 is user, and if I check this user ID, supercoders1, checking this user ID, which is 5. So let's copy this 5 ID, which is domain user ID, copy it, and trying to find the data for the categories. So open new tab, search it, and find domain user ID 5. Search it, and these are all the categories which is linked with the supercoders1 user. And if you see this parent user ID, all are null, but this two data has a 11 ID, the parent. So just check it, it is going to work or not. So copy ID 12 and pass it here in dynamic form API 12. Send it. This time if you check, you can get the default value 11. So that is working perfect. After that, let's save my API, dynamic form API with edit values. Save it. After that, press send again. Okay. So it is working fine. Now after that, let's work on the edit form post API. So we are getting the values of edit data. Let's make it save this edit data. So we are gonna create a post API for edit data. So let's make it also. So for that, just come to VS Code, and here if you see earlier, I pass a ID in the post method also. If you see this, now after that we can use this post ID to create a model instance again for post data. So scroll down, and here if you see this model instance, it is used for creating So what I'm gonna do, if id, then in that case model instance equal to model class dot objects dot filter id equal to id, domain user id equal to domain user id. And same way, if model dot exist, simply return model instance first. And then what I can do, uh, if not, let's do one thing. If not model instance exist, simply return render response model item not found, model item not found 404. Else, or just directly model instance equal to model first. Then after that, for key value in field data or item, set attributes model instance key then value. So I'm setting the attribute in the model instance with key value. After that, model instance dot save, and in else condition, I can simply return this data. Now save it. So if there is ID, I can fetch the model instance. I can fetch the model instance. So if there is ID, I can fetch the model instance by using this line. Then if I check whether model instance is exist or not, if it is exist, if it is not exist, I can simply enter the model item not found. If it is exist, I can fetch the first item, then accessing all the key values from the fields item data, then setting the attribute and values in the model instance, then finally saving it. The first one is for updating the data, and the second one is for creating a new instance, or you can say create a new data. Now save it, and let's check whether it is working or not. So come to Postman, and if I see this ID is for 12, so what I'm gonna do, open my post API also, and this time if you see for food 3, so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna change this food 3 to food 3 x and display order to 3. So same way here, display order 3 and food 3x and example.com slash test for image. After that, test category description 3, and parent ID is also okay. I think display order is 3, okay. Now after that, pass the ID which is gonna update. So passing the ID 12. So earlier if you see, it has food 3 get default 2 for display order, and after going to update, it is gonna change. So let me show you. Click on send, and it is get updated. And if I fetch it again, this time I can see my item has been updated. It's food 3x, default 3, parent ID 11, and also the description is test category description 3. So our post API for edit is also done. Let's save this API also. Dynamic form API post for edit values. Save it. Now let's integrate all these things in our front-end application. So coming to VS Code, and let's work on our front-end. So close this file, and close this file. Close this backend also. Let's work on front-end. So open front-end, open SRC, then open app.js file, and here is the form name. I'm gonna pass one more optional parameter, which is ID. So in Django, there is no option to pass that optional parameter. We have to create a separate URL. But here in the React, what we can do, we can simply add ID and add a question mark. So this will make it this ID optional, whether you can pass it or not pass it. It will work. So save it, come to dynamic form, and here I'm gonna access the ID. So form name, after that comma ID. So what I'm gonna do in the fetch form, uh, const PID equal to, if there is ID, then use the ID slash ID. Okay, slash is there, ID slash s, leave it as a blank, After that, let's add it also here. So dollar PID. So the reason for creating this as a PID, because you are passing the ID, but it is using a slash also. If you didn't pass the slash, it is getting break. So that's why I pass the ID and use it as a PID. Then there is ID. We can pass ID with slash. Otherwise, we can pass it a blank data. So the blank data will work for add data, and the ID is work for edit data. Now save it, and let's do one more thing. Come to our manage category page, category, manage category, and on clicking the edit, navigate to category page with the ID. So navigate category slash, then passing the ID. So we can get the ID from dollar params.row.id, save it, back to Chrome, back to application, then refresh the, first come to analytics, refresh application, then come to category, manage category, and try to edit any data. Click on this edit. If I come to general information, I can see the value, which is the default value coming from the API. If I see the detailed information, I am also getting the value. Right now, the file is not showing and the drop down is not showing. So let's work on these two things first. Let me show you for other data also. Come into manage category, and try to open this. Click on edit. If you see, there is no parent ID showing as a selected. So you have to fix this also. So come to VS Code again, and after that, if I come to my step component, step self component, and so let's work on this thread component. So first remove this comment, and after that, here in the default value, you see I didn't set a default value. So what I'm gonna do, just copy this same thing here, copy it, then or, and here in this case, what I'm gonna pass, I'm gonna simple pass field dot default. So first it is checking for the name, and second I'm just passing as a field dot default the default value. Save it, back to Chrome, refresh page, and if you see, it is showing the selected category. If you see, it is showing my selected category. So that is gonna work. So our dropdown is also working right now. Our text field is also working right now. Our text area field is also working right now. But we need to work with file component. So here there is no file showing right now. So if to write a logic like simple way, first I will show my all the old files, and then above I show my new files. So for that, what I'm gonna do, first come to VS Code, and let's close this step select and open our step file component, uh, file input component, and here we are getting my old files in the default value. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna create three new state. So first const old files, set old files, make it empty array right now. Then we have set old file previews. So set old file previews. For showing the old file previews, I am gonna use this state. Then next we have new files, const new files URL, set new file URLs. After that, use state, and for the old files, what I'm getting, first I'm checking check is JSON field dot data, and array dot is array field dot default. This is also field dot default. If this two conditions satisfy, what I gonna do, question mark uh, JSON dot parse field dot default, else pass it empty array. After that, next what I gonna do, I gonna preview the old items. So for this, I'm gonna create a new state or use effect. So use effect, use effect, old files. If old files dot length greater than 0, then in that case, what I'm gonna do? Simply copy this logic which I written earlier. This one, copy it for previewing the item, paste it here. Old files dot map set old file preview. But here is one thing which is not working. Right now, the file URL which you are getting is the actual URL, not a file object. So that's going to not work. So instead of that, what I gonna do? New URL, new URL, then passing URL, which is file. Then we need to pass the name and type. So for creating the name and type, you have to create a separate method because we need to access the file name from URL and access the file type from URL. So what I gonna do? Come to my helper method and creating some method. Export const get file name from URL. So here what I gonna do? First const parse URL to new URL, then const path name equal to parse URL dot path name. After that, const file name equal to path name dot substring path name dot last index of slash plus 1. So here what I do, I simply parse my URL. If you see the file URL, let me show you something. If I come to my inspect network tab, refresh this page. If you see this API for edit category, open data, open the file section, image. If you see this URL, it has slash slash slash. So what I have done, I simply pass as a URL and access this file object. So the last one is this one. I just parse it and get the last item. So after that, parse item and return my file name. Then export const get file my type from URL or from file name, and here simply do what? Const extension equal to file name dot split dot dot pop dot to lowercase. So I just extract the file type, or you can say file extension, by splitting the dot and getting the last item in lowercase. Now after that, I can do what? Simply return data extension of MIME type. So const MIME types equal to, right now there are lots of MIME types, but I'm using some simple MIME types just like text, plus plain, so adding if expansion in MIME types Then it is extension in my types. Then simple return my types extension else return others less other. So save it. After that, come to your actual file input component, and here what I'm gonna do, uh, get file name from URL, pass in the file, and here the speed is okay, but here we need get file mime type from name and get file name from URL, pass in the URL. So first accessing the file name, first accessing the file name, then passing in a mime type URL. Now save it. After that, we need to preview this item. So what I gonna do? Just come down, scroll here, go here. After that, just adding some logic. Old file previews dot length greater than 0. Then in that case, I'm gonna typography modify old files, and here adding some margin also. So margin top, then adding version H6. After that, I'm adding a box again. So box, or just do what? Just copy the previous code, this one. Just simply copy it. So copy it, and here simply run this, and instead of using file preview, just use the old file previews here and here. Now save it, and let's check it's gonna work or not. So come to Chrome, refresh page, come to documents and files, and I think it is not showing anything. Let me check is there any file or not. So if I open 82, is data with file and one image file is there, but that is not showing here. So let me check what is happened here. Why it is not showing any files? So come to VS Code again. What is the issue? So if I see what is the default value, check is JSON and array dot is array. Okay, here is one issue. I didn't convert it to JSON. So JSON dot parse. Then after that, JSON dot parse. Save it, and I think all the thing has been done. Refresh page, and if I come to document file, I can see my all the files which is showing modify old files. So here I added a button delete, but that is for the new file. So I have to create another method under delete image old. Let's copy it, and let's just copy this method, cut it, paste it, change this to old files or updated files, old files, then set set old files, set old files, set old files, set old files. Then after that, here for previews, set old preview and change this to old file previews. That is okay. Delete it, save it, file refresh page, and let's check. Try to delete the file, click on it, delete file. That is working. After that, we need to update this data. So what I gonna do? Let's create some other instance. So here, by getting the response, I can simply do what? instead of setting in a value, I can do like set new file URLs data dot URLs. Remove this thing. I gonna use this thing in another way. Here creating another use effect. Use effect and calling it only when there is change on old files or changing on new files. Then I can say, but for that, let's create another method. Const build file URLs equal to, here simply const final URLs equal to old files copy, then new files copy, and after that get value. Also add if final URL dot length greater than 0, set value fill dot name final URL, else is set field. Let's import it from here. Is set field. If there is files, set this file. If there is no file, just set this field. Now after that, here just call this method. So there is changing one file, calling the build file URLs. Back to Chrome, refresh page, and it is gonna break just because of this way, because this watch field dot name gonna trigger when you're changing the value. So here what I gonna do, here adding some logic, watch field dot name and adding a condition, and array dot is array watch field dot name, make it json dot string a file or json dot parse is array, and uh, json dot parse json dot parse dot filter item, then item item instance of file, then length greater than 0. So just run this code and there is file in the array file type or input type. If there is file in exist and it is array, I think I don't need this one because it is already setting in a array format. Also here, just do it what, simply adding watch field dot name dot filter item is instance of file. If this condition satisfied, I can run this code. And also here just filtering dot filter dot filter item 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 instance of file, item instance of file, return the item as return the empty array. Now save this file and I'm gonna call this thing again here, build file URLs, save it, back to Chrome, refresh page. Watch filter is not a function, here it should be, array from Also here I have form. Yeah, save it and let's check. Press page, come to documents and files. This time you see it is running right now, and try to add some new files that we're gonna check. Adding these two new files, that is also showing. Now after that, if I try to upload this file, let's try to upload this file. Click on upload files. So we're gonna merge these two files in a single data. So it is uploaded, and try to save this. So submit. If I submit this API, I can see what I'm passing. I'm passing the image URL for the page number 81 or the ID. Okay, I didn't pass the ID also here. So what I'm gonna do when uploading the file in dynamic form, in the post API, we also need to do this same thing which we have done in get API. So copy it, paste it, and here simply adding PID. Save it. Now again try to submit this data. If I check this time, I am sending all the URLs. If I refresh the page, come to documents and files, I can see all the file images which I uploaded. That is working fine perfectly. But if I try to do what? If I come here, click on next, 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 submit, that is not gonna work. So you have to fix this also thing. Right now I have selected my old file, so I don't need to add a new file. So you have to bypass this validation also. Come to this code, and here you have to do some changes. First, let's move this alert from here to outside this way. And also let me show one more thing. If I uh, show one more thing, if I come to add category, add category, next, giving some name, next description, and here I select this file, but didn't upload this file and try to submit this. Then what happened? It gets submitted. So to take care of this thing also, and here in dynamic form, I already have a code for checking the validation on each step. This one. So I'm gonna do what? Just cut this code or just leave this code, copy it, and here on submit, const is error false. If there is any error, let is error true. If there is any error, simply return this, and it will gonna show our validation message. Now after that, in the file input component, this file is required. Also upload file and upload the files if already selected. Save it, back to Chrome, refresh page, clear the console. This time if I try to check, adding some random name, next, random description, next, click on submit. Now you can see it's showing message. And if I select this file, this two file, and try to submit, again it is showing the message. I didn't upload the file. Adding some margin. SX margin top 10 pixel. Submit. It is showing the error message. Now, after that, uploading the file and try to submit, it is gonna work. So after submitting, we need to navigate to the manage category page. So what I can do after submitting this form, I have to redirect to the manage page. So here after submitting, navigate. Let's get a navigator. So import, use navigate from React Router DOM. Then const navigate equal to use navigate. Then simply navigate it. So here navigate, then slash manage and form name. Save it. After that, come to Chrome, refresh page. After submitting this data, I am going to direct move to the manage page. So if I come to manage category, and so if I come to manage category and try to edit some data, like open this, let's come back. This one, hit this item, 82, click on next, click on next, click on next. This is the old file. If I delete it again, try to submit, it's showing me error. Let's try to select the new files. This one, upload files and submit it. If I try to check it again, let's open this, open it, and here if I see, I can see my new files only. The old file has been deleted. So that is working perfectly. You can upload the new files and you can edit the data. Let's try to edit the data also. Final to test category 1, test child x1, display order 2, test child 2. Next, uploading a new file also, leaving the old file and adding a new file also. Upload files, submit it. Now it's done. If I try to open this category, so for category 82, and if I check this, you can see the both files has been showing. So I successfully update the data. So in this way, I created update API also. After that, here it is showing add category. Let's change to edit also. So if I come to this page, edit data. So if there is ID, make it edit, else make it head. Save it. Now if I check, it's showing edit category. So that is working fine. Right now we don't have active sidebar, so that is also need to fix. So come to our Redux file, user, and here I can see change this to dot index of item URL not equal to -1. Change this here. Also change this to here. Change this here. Now save it. And if I check, it is working fine. Here analytics is showing active. Let's fix this. So for that, what I'm gonna do? Come to my database and open the modules. Changing the analytics path. Our analytics path is, if you see analytics, let's find the analytics. Yeah, I think it is on the next page. Analytics. Change this to simply blank. If I refresh page, now it is perfectly working. You can see in the edit page, it is showing my category active. If I check analytics, that is also is not working. So think instead of this, return slash home page, page, and here after that in the app.js file, here adding also a home. Save it, refresh page, and come to dashboard, refresh page. It is showing anti active. So that is working, I think. I simply change the route also. Now after that, all the things are working right now. Add category, manage category, edit category. All the thing is working fine. After that, I have to fix one more thing. Last thing, if you see, if I refresh this page, come to documents and file, this file is getting too much long and it make the UI breaking. So I have to fix this thing also. So for that, what I can do, come to my code, and here in my uh, file component, here I can do what? Sx, first setting the width, sx width to 30 pixel, then word word wrap, word break word. Save it and let's check. Uh, do it also in the below one. So copy it to make it responsive. Just copy it and do it also here. The first one. Save it back to Chrome. And now you can see it is looking perfect. There is no breaking in the UI. It is showing the image, the file name in the compressed form, and the delete icon. After that, I have to fix one more last thing. In the product, if I come to add product, here if you see, it is getting outside. So what I'm gonna do? Let me show you. So for this, I have to come to this multi-stepper, multi-stepper, and make this overflow X auto. So if it is getting last size, it is showing as a scrolling. So it will not make our UI broken. So again, come to dynamic form, stepper, then SX overflow X auto. Save it, paste page, and if I see again, you can see it is making as a scrolling. So that is working fine for the responsive website. After that, all the thing has been done. I have done the manage category, add category, edit category. All the things are working. Now in the next tutorial, I will finalize my add product, then warehouse, and then other thing also. So I hope you like the video. Thanks for watching. Please like our video and please subscribe our channel. And if any question, please do comment.